Welcome along to the Diaries for another video. Today I am actually really excited because I am going to be reviewing an Australian indie brand, and that makes me very happy because in case you haven't noticed from the accent, maybe if I do a bit of this, g'day mate, then you will know that I am Australian, and so I'm really excited and proud to be supporting Australian products on this channel. So today we are taking a peek at the Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette, and there are some gorgeous natural tones in there, really pretty shimmers and a whole bunch of mattes as well. So in this palette you're getting 15 eyeshadow pans, you are getting I think 7 mattes, yes, and 8 shimmers. And what I really enjoy about this palette is that there are different tones in the palette, so it's not like all boring browns or all pinks. There's browns, there's pinks, there's also this addition of the olivey green shade, which I think is, yeah, I'm really excited to be using that and to really give that one a run. It's a fun thing to include in the palette, and I think it shows a really good variety of shades. You can pick up the palette for $70 Australian, which works out to about $49 USD if you are one of my American friends. So I'm really excited to be doing 2 looks with this palette. We are also gonna have swatches, so you'll be able to see all of the shades in artificial light and in natural light, which I hope is helpful for you. I think it is when I see that in other videos. So yeah, there's gonna be everything that you need, a complete and thorough review of the Nearly Natural palette from Glaminatrix. Let's not mess around any further. Before we jump into it though, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. We'd love to have you in the Diaries crew, and let's get on with it. Okay, so let's get started with this look using the Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette. Okay, so to get started, what I will say is this palette doesn't have like a beige base eyeshadow. So I have gone ahead and just used some concealer and powder on my eyelids so that they are prepped and ready to go. Just scooting you in even closer. That's how we roll around here, nice and intimate. I am first of all gonna pick up the shade called Simplicity, which is this camely color in the bottom corner, and using a fluffy Refa dome brush. It's number 15 for reference. I'm just gonna take that and run it through and above my crease. And because this is a big soft brush, it's gonna be nice and blown out. Same goes over here. So this is a nice, warm, natural looking camely brown color. So that's gonna be my base for this look. So I will just sort of buff the rest of it onto the eyelid as well. Okay, so that's how we are. Next up, we are gonna do something a little bit funny. We're gonna take my ticket from the Royal Croquet Club from the Adelaide Fringe from the Soweto Gospel Choir. It's pretty old. God, what year was that? 2017? By the way, if you ever get a chance to see the Soweto Gospel Choir, they are amazing. But what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna use it just to give me some border over here. So I'm just gonna line that up with my nose and the edge of my eye. I normally have tape that I use, but I've actually decided not to use that anymore for environmental reasons. So I have ordered I know you can't take me seriously right now because I'm holding a ticket on my face, but I have ordered a silicone reusable eyeshadow shield, which I think will be really cool. So I'll let you know when that comes. In the meantime, holding this on my face and taking the dark brown shade in the palette, which is called Disrobe, I am going to be down the corner. Okay, so giving myself a really nice line to work from. And now that that's on, just gonna take one of my smaller Refa brushes. This is a number 14, and I just want to buff that out a little bit. But we're gonna be putting other shadow on top of it anyway. So you can see that it goes on very pigmented, the dark brown shade, which is great. Obviously you can tap it off and put it on a lot lighter if you want to. Okay, so that's where we're at. And I'm just cleaning off that brush and going back into the first brown shade, the lighter brown shade, and blending that one over the top. Alrighty, now doing the other side. Taking that same little shader brush and dipping once again back into the darker brown color. I don't think I showed you that before. Tick it back on the face. Look at me, I'm ready to go to a concert, man. Normally when I do this, I look into a mirror, obviously, and I don't have to hold the mirror and I can see what I'm doing. But obviously because my hands are both taken right now, it's hard to see what I'm doing with a hand mirror. Who needs to see, right? Seeing's overrated. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could leave it looking really dramatic like that and do a really deep dark eye. But for now, we're just gonna do some blending. So I'm gonna pick up the same Refa brush I was using before, which was the 14, I think. And I'm just blending that out. So there was no product on that brush whatsoever. Actually, it does look quite cool dark. All right, we'll see how we go. Maybe I'll darken it up again later. The pigment in that shade is great. Do you know, I was gonna do a fairly natural looking eye look, but I'm actually really enjoying the depth of this, so stuff it. I'm just gonna go back in with some more of that deeper shade on the other eye. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with a bit more drama on that left eye, and now that we have that darker shade on and I've got the depth that I want, now I've decided to go a little bit more of the glam. I am just gonna go back into that first brown shade and use that. Camera's having a bit of trouble focusing. Just to blend out the edges of that darker shade and blend them into each other. And then running up the top. It's looking really nice. Okay, so this is where we are. And now that I'm happy with that, I'm gonna pop on some shimmers. So we are moving on from mattes to shimmers, which is always, in my opinion, the most fun part. All right, so what I am wanting to take here, I think, is the, second skin shade, which is the really pretty bronzy one down the bottom here. Second skin. I am going to wet. First of all, I want to try it with a brush. So I'm going to use this synthetic Refa flat brush. I'm going to wet that and just see how we go with using a brush. And if that's no good, I'm going to use my finger, which is what I usually end up doing because I like the oomph. Yeah, no, I can already say it needs to be a finger if you want impact. I'm placing that on the middle of the eyelid. So I'm bringing that up just above my crease line because I have hooded eyes. When I close my eyes, I still want you to be able to see some shimmer. So that's why I'm taking it a little bit higher. I'm not coming all the way in to the center in the inner corner of the eye just yet. I just think this is is a really pretty color, the color Raw, which looks like that on my finger. Sorry, I'm not trying to give you the bird or anything, but that's what that looks like. It's like a beautiful, deep bronzy shade with a hint of rose gold about it. I think I want to take that and just put that over where the dark brown meets the bronze. That's gorgeous. Okay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that actually. That is one of my favorite colors, I think, in this palette. And again, I'm blowing that out a little bit so it's coming up higher. Now I'm making sure my fingers are clean because I don't want to pick up any of the darker browns on there. I'm wetting it, this little guy, wetting it again. And I am going to take the shade Nude, that one. And I'm going to use that for the inner corner of my eye. So that's a really light golden shade. It's gonna tone in really nicely. And I'm actually bringing that slightly over the top, like so. Now I'm taking my 03 Refa, little tiny pencil / bullet brush, making sure that's clean. I am dipping back into the shade Simplicity, the first brown that we used, and running that underneath the eye along the lash line. It's like a rogue eyelash just hanging out there. My eyelashes are always rogue, to be fair. So I really, really want to get a puppy, like desperately. So I have something to just love me always, because kids aren't necessarily on the cards for me. With my endo, it could be a little bit difficult. I've had tests and stuff done, and it would be very difficult for me. But that doesn't mean that everyone with endo is in the same boat, because they're definitely not. But I'm like, okay, well, I am ready to give my love to something, and I think it might be a puppy. I'm like really, really keen to get one. And I've been watching videos saying that you need to train them really young and all that kind of gear. And I'm thinking maybe that's what I did wrong with my eyebrows. I didn't train them young, and so they're rogue and they just do their own thing. Hopefully I can have more luck if I get a puppy. So taking that same Refa brush, I'm gonna dip into the same darker brown shade that we used earlier on the top. And I have tapped that off a little. I'm just smudging that along the outer lower lash line. It's like impossible for me to do this stuff with my mouth closed. Like, I don't know what that is. But yeah, my mouth is gaping open right now. Hopefully it's out of frame. So just smoking that up a little bit. And I am gonna take that same little brush and dip it straight back into that shimmery color that we used on the inner corner. And I just want to run that down so it meets up with its eyeshadow buddies. There we go. Yeah, I'm enjoying how that looks. I think that's really pretty. So the last thing I want to do with the eyeshadow is I just want to go in with this teeny weeny little fella, this 13 Refa brush, which is clean. It just doesn't look clean. And again, I'm taking that lighter brown, and I just, not a lot, just a little tiny weeny bit. Tapped it off, and I just want to run that up the top over the glitter. Yeah, that's just makes it look all softer and blended together, like harmoniously. You know what I mean? That is how the eyeshadows are working all together. I am gonna pop some eyeliner on and some mascara. While I'm at it, might have a look at some blushes and lipsticks. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have gone ahead and popped eyeliner on. I used one of my all-time favorites. I love Charlotte Tilbury eyeliners. I love them. They're so good, but but they're so expensive and I go through them so quickly, it drives me nuts. But I wouldn't be without this one especially. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Walk of No Shame eyeliner, and it is just the most beautiful color. Oh, I love it so much. It's like a reddy, curranty, browny cross. And it's so beautiful on hazel eyes. So that is the one that I've gone ahead and I have used on the top and in my top waterline there. And then one that I picked up recently, which I'm really enjoying, is the Nars High Pigment Longwear Eyeliner in Sunset Boulevard, which is so pretty. I couldn't resist it. It goes amazing with green eye looks as well, but it's a really yellow metallic with a little bit of a shimmer to it. So I'm loving that one, and I have that just inside my waterline on the bottom. So that's what I went for with my eyeliners. As always, I used my Tarte Opening Act Lash Primer, and I went ahead and used my Hourglass Unlocked Instant Extensions Mascara. And now that that's done, let's get some blush on those cheeks because I'm looking a little bit pale. I do have my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer on already, but I think for blush, I'm really torn on what I want to do today because I am just obsessed with my MAC Glow Play blush at the moment. I have not enjoyed a MAC product this much in many, many, many years, and I adore it. And it's such a pretty natural looking color. But I picked up the Cheek to Chic Charlotte Tilbury Walk of No Shame blush whilst I was in Europe, and I really haven't been using it at all. Maybe I should be using that. Before I do that though, I just want to smooth out. I have a couple of little lines from where I had the old Soweto Gospel Choir ticket stump on my face. All right, you know what? Let's take a risk. Let's go in with this Charlotte Tilbury blush. All right, so I'm just gonna swirl the two colors around together. And here goes nothing. God, I hope this looks okay and doesn't ruin everything. Oh, it's really intense. I think that's why I haven't used it much. Making sure I'm dusting it off a lot on the edge of the product packaging before I put it on my face, and going in very softly. You can see how, oh my God, how much pigment that has, like, straight away. It is really pretty though, actually. I think I've just been a bit like, I've been a bit shy. I've been scared I can't pull it off, you know? because it is quite intense, but it actually is a really pretty burnt, it's almost like that sunburn look that's been really in lately, like a berry sunburn. Normally though, when I get sunburn, it's just lobster red. It's not a pretty sheeny berry shade, but that actually looks gorgeous. Okay, I'm into it. Oh, I'm glad we did that. A lot of yapping going on next door today. Neighbors must be out. Or maybe it's the neighbors. And today, as a highlight, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Nudestix Bubbly Bee. It's like a champagne-y color highlight. I'm really digging this look. It's actually so much better than I thought it was gonna turn out, to be honest. With how I've used the palette recently over the last week, I honestly didn't expect to love this look as much as I do, because I've been finding the palette slightly underwhelming, but I have to say that the dark pigments are really impressive and the shimmers are really pretty too. I think it's just the mid-tones that are letting me down a little bit. I'm just finding, for me personally, they lack a little bit of oomph. But we are going to go ahead and do a second look with this palette, and let's get some lipstick on first and then we'll get to that. So I'm just taking my Pat McGrath PermaGel Ultra Lip Pencil in Bare Rose to line my lips. These are great pencils. They really are very long wearing. Normally when I put the Pat McGrath PermaGel liner on, it looks heaps more like intense and tattooed, but I actually want the balm underneath because I am going to be putting the Pat McGrath Matte Trance lipstick on in Beautiful Stranger, and I didn't want it to be completely matte. So I have, instead of wiping that balm off, I've left that balm underneath. I love this shade of the Matte Trans Lipstick because it's kind of like a mid-tone nude with a little hint of coral to it. It's a little pinky brownie. I love the mix. It's quite an unusual color and I really enjoy it, and I think it goes great with this look. So stick around and we're gonna do look number 2. Okay, let's dive into look number 2. So I think we're gonna use the greeny tones for this one. So yeah, we're gonna go in with these guys and see what we come up with. First of all, I'm going to take a big fluffy Refa brush, number 16, and I'm going into the Down to Earth matte green shade. This is just going to be a pretty quick look, I think. So when that goes on my eye, once I blend it out a little bit, it sort of doesn't keep its green tinge particularly. So maybe if I want it to stay green, I'm just going to have to pack it on rather than blending it too much. So what I will do is just use it as a bit of a base color, transition color as well. And then I might go in and pack it on in the outer corner a little bit more. Like I said, I like the inclusion of the olivey tones. I think that's really a nice touch. And of course, because I'm using such a big fluffy brush, it's definitely a diffused look, which I personally like. Now I'm gonna try and I'm gonna take more of a packing brush. I'm just gonna use this little Tarte brush, dipping in and tapping it off a little. Okay, and then just building it up in that outer. Actually, it's quite cool because it sort of reminds me a little bit of Pat McGrath in the way that you can get a different look from the same eyeshadow by using it differently. Apologies, my memory card just ran out of space. So as I was saying, I was so rudely interrupted by technology, which is always the way. Yeah, I like that I'm getting 2 different vibes from the same eyeshadow. That's quite cool. Just wanted a little more depth. I do wish it was slightly more green in tone, but that's just a personal thing and not everyone is going to want that. So this is still a very, very wearable green because it's a real olivey shade, so it's still very neutral, which is in theme with the palette, to be fair. I just like a little bit of spice. But no, that's cool. That's cool. Now I'm just going to take the 14 Refa and blend that out a little, not too much because I want to keep the depth to it, but just blending out the edges a little. And using that same little Refa, I am going to dip into the shade Barely There, light browny color. So we've already used that guy, now we're going in here. Just softly joining it up with the green above my crease. Okay. Now I'm going to wet my finger and dip into this stunning greeny gold shade. It's called Exposed, and it's about to be. Tapping that into the middle of the eyelid. It's a very pretty golden olive. It's quite light and bright on the lid. And I am blending it down towards the inner corner of the eye. All right, so this green is really pretty. It is a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be. And so I do want to go back in with the matte green shade, just with a small refa brush, because I do want that, I want that anchor of that deeper green in there. And of course it is going to pick up some glitter, but that's okay. Yeah, it definitely looks better when it's got that matte anchor, I think. My humble opinion. Makeup, of course, is subjective, so you do you. Okay, getting back to the shimmers, I think I'm going to use Nude. Just letting my finger. Popping that in the corner and blending it through. For the lower lash line, I am taking the Refa 03 pencil brush and, of course, dipping into the same matte green shade. And I'm running that all the way along that lower lash line. And finally, I'm just going to wet that same little pencil brush and dip it back into Nude, the goldeny inner highlight color, and just want to bring that through about a third of the way. And if you don't wet it, you will get fallout. All right, now I'm just gonna do some eyeliner and some mascara, and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, so I've got eyeliner and mascara on, and I used the dark green end of the Charlotte Tilbury to do my upper lash line. I love this eye pencil so much, and it goes so beautifully with this eye look. And I used the light green metallic end just on the lower outer lash line. Plus I just went in with a really 100-year-old Stiller, I think it's like a kohl pencil. Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say it's at least 20 years old. But basically you can use any eye brightening, creamy colored, nude colored pencil just in your inner rim if you want to just brighten things up. And I'm really happy with how that looks, how that's turned out. The eye pencils just really finish that off. So I'm gonna go for the Melt Blush Light in Lynx. Just taking a big Bobby Brown bronzer brush. I think it's gonna look really nice with this. It's a bronzer with a really beautiful sheen to it, like a pearl sheen. It's so pretty and warm and delicious. I love it. Okay, so I really just wanted to warm the face up a little bit more. Perfecto. Now I'm gonna take my Bare Minerals Kiss of Pink blush. Love these blushes. I have all three of them. It comes in 3 different shades. I have them all. And I think I'm just gonna take this little MAC, can't really read what it says, soft, fluffy brush, dip into that, because I don't want it to be too intense. And I want to also use my Melt Cream Blush Light in Golden Hour. Also, if you have seen my shiny new makeup to my collection video, you would have seen these Melt products feature heavily because I'm obsessed. I'm in love with them. This is so pretty. It's a really peachy, golden, creamy blush that I actually quite like using as a bit of a highlight. So I like to bring that around the front of my cheek and then work it up like I would with a highlight. It's so beautiful. And for lips, I'm just using a Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the shade Carina's Star. I love the packaging for this. It's so pretty. Look at it. No lip liner. And that is that. Now, let's get into the good stuff. Here's some swatches. you have seen both of the looks that I have done with the Nearly Natural palette by Glaminatrix. I want to give you some of my thoughts on using this palette. I think this palette is fantastic for neutral glam lovers. So if you're someone who really likes keeping things nice and natural and neutral in tone, then this palette is probably your dream, especially if you like shimmers, because there are some really pretty shimmers in the palette. If you are someone who likes a little more oomph, maybe you like a neutral palette but with a little bit of a twist, like say the Red Dragon palette from Odin's Eye, which has the neutral shades in it, but then also has like this really crazy cool pop of like bright coral and a really intense green in there. If that's the kind of thing you like, then you might feel like you're lacking it a little bit from this palette. So you might need to use this palette with other mattes that you have in your collection. And if you're someone who is okay with that, then that's fantastic. But if you're someone who wants that pop all in the one palette, then you're not going to get that from this. I really did enjoy using it, but I did find myself wishing that this green had more oomph. I really wanted it to have a little bit more oomph to it. I love the inclusion of a really pretty soft olivey shimmer because that's quite unusual. Again, I wish it had slightly more depth to it, and that would have made me really happy because I was excited about these green tones in the palette. But again, if you are someone who likes things really natural, then you are going to really enjoy these shades. And I think it's great that there's different tones in here. So you've got your greens, you've got your browns, you've got your pinks. You can mix it up. There's also that little kind of mauvey color in here that can, if you prefer things a little cooler, then that will be right up your alley. So yes, if you love naturals, then definitely go for this palette. I think it's excellent quality, really, really excellent quality. It's my first experience using a Glaminatrix eyeshadow palette, or just any of the eyeshadows in general. I have seen that they have just launched, or they are just launching a new palette. Let me just check my phone. Because I did get really excited when I saw that come up. And let's see. Okay, yeah, so the Glaminatrix team bringing out a new palette that looks right up my alley. It's colorful and shimmery and gorgeous, and I definitely want to try it because having tried the formula with this Nearly Natural palette, I can say that I'm really happy with the formula. So I definitely want to try the new one, which is called, oh, it's called Glamorous. Hello. Ooh, look at that. Just a little sneak peek of what's coming up. So they still haven't decided on a launch date, but they're looking at the 25th of this month. Yeah, I'm really excited to have started down the Glaminatrix pathway. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do that and be part of the Diaries crew. Just click on that little button down there. And if you could give this video a thumbs up, that'd be epic as well. And I will be back with you soon. I do have another Kaleidos eyeshadow palette review coming your way. So if you are a fan of Kaleidos and you want to know a bit more about them, then make sure you don't miss that video. Take care. I shall see you soon. Bye. Anywhere you go, let me go too. Sorry, I've been listening to Phantom of the Opera in the car today.